system.
What the hell is that?
Paraquat is an herbicide.
Malaysia?
Importantly,
Wait, that's where I'm from. Oh no. Wait, that's not good. Slenderman?
However,
so many stabs. Oh my god, that is horrifying, bro. This is the most horrifying thing I've ever seen, bro. We should watch it together, bro. Serial killers that are still on the loose today. Oh my god. I mean, okay, technically it's already like November 1st for me, but you know what? Ooh, spooky. Alright, guys, let's watch, bro, for the Halloween spirit. Hello there, this is Jay from the future editing this video. And just want to give you a little disclaimer that I was watching this video on stream. And I just kind of realized that I got too distracted with the chat, and I was pretty much talking over the video like most of the time, and I'm so sorry about that. But yeah, regardless of that, I hope that y'all will enjoy watching this video of me reacting to these true crime cases, which was actually pretty interesting, and I had a fun time watching this on stream. And I am going to be doing this kind of reacts and also, you know, a lot of yapping on my Twitch, so if you guys want to check me out on there, that would be very much appreciated. So yeah, alright, back to the video.
Vending machine killer.
On
April 30th, 1985, a 45-year-old truck driver stopped near a vending machine in Fukuyama, Japan. He was exhausted from work and was looking for an energy drink to help him power through the rest of the day. When he approached the vending machine, however, he noticed something surprising. A bottle of Oranaminsi energy drink was already in the pickup tray. Thinking he'd lucked down on a free drink, the truck driver wasted no time chugging it down. What he didn't know was that this would be the last drink he would ever taste.
Oh fuck.
Instead of the refreshing feeling he was looking for, he felt something horribly wrong with his body. A bitter, burning sensation quickly spread throughout his throat, followed by an intense wave of nausea. It wasn't long before he was lying on the road in excruciating pain. He was rushed to a nearby hospital where doctors discovered a lethal amount of paraquat dichloride in his system.
What the hell is that?
Paraquat is an herbicide that was quite common in Japan at the time.
Malaysia?
More importantly, it's also highly toxic to humans.
That's where I'm from.
When ingested, it can lead to severe nausea, throat inflammation, internal chemical burns, and eventually death. This is also why it's been banned completely from over 70 countries.
Hi Army, what's up? Everything well?
Unfortunately, despite knowing the reason for his illness, there was nothing the doctors could do to save his life. There's no antidote for the deadly chemical today, let alone back then. So after hanging on to his life for a month, the truck driver passed away on the 30th of May 1985. At first, investigators assumed that given the nature of his work, he might have accidentally encountered the toxic substance while on duty. However, after reviewing his haul records, they found no trace of this herbicide or anything remotely linked to it. This left them with only one conclusion. The chemical was mixed into the drink he consumed just moments before collapsing in agony. But with no leads or concrete evidence, they couldn't determine whether it was a murder or self-inflicted act, resulting in the case getting shelved for the time being. Now, while this might sound absurd today, you have to understand that paraquat was readily available in the country at the time. You didn't need any prescription or identification to purchase the chemical, leading to over 1,400 people using it as the poison of their choice in 1984 alone. In other words, the possibility of it being self-inflicted was just as high. However, just as the investigators were about to give up on this case completely, they received tragic news. Another person had fallen victim to the same poison after consuming Oranaminsi on the 5th of September. Then another 6 days later, and one more 2 weeks after that. By this point, it was clear that someone was deliberately poisoning vending machine drinks across Japan. This was the work of a deranged serial killer. Unfortunately, this supposed killer was also extremely thorough. He didn't leave any fingerprint or DNA evidence on the drinks he tampered with, and only targeted vending machines with no CCTV cameras nearby.
I mean, you just gotta have to avoid that drink, I guess, no?
Drank the unknowingly poisoned drinks he left behind.
The C drink, this one?
With the buy one
Hi Aki, how you doing? What's up?
Oranaminsi was running around the time to entice younger consumers. However, since some people only wanted the one drink, they often left the second free drink near the vending machine as a gift for the next person. This was common enough that people didn't find the laced drinks suspicious and drank them without a second thought. Sadly, this method was terribly effective. By the end of the year, this mysterious vending machine killer had claimed the lives of 12 victims and had severely injured 35 more. But as I mentioned earlier, this killer was a master of hiding his tracks. He operated all across western and central Japan, as well as Tokyo, making it near impossible for investigators to pinpoint his location. The lack of evidence also made it difficult to figure out.
That's
his
crazy.
Some speculated that he was doing all this to extort money from Otsuka Pharmaceutical, the company that made Ornamency.
You should really make a Twitch account.
In 1984,
we are on Twitch though.
The Mystery Men with 21 Faces threatened to poison food products unless the companies paid them money. So some believed that the vending machine killer was a copycat and wanted something similar. However, this theory didn't last very long because Otsuka Pharmaceutical didn't receive any demands or extortion letters from the perpetrator. Additionally, the killer also began using other drinks, like the drink Real Gold and even Coca-Cola. Hiyori
Dr. Pepper,
a Tokyo professor of criminal sociology, proposed a more disturbing theory regarding the killer's motives. He stated, "It is not uncommon for Japanese who live under tremendous pressure, both on the job and in overcrowded communities, to let out their frustrations by hurting someone else. The person responsible may even wait around to see who buys the poisoned drink. He or she may find this is a kind of exhilarating release from the tensions of life in Japan."
Ooh.
But even if this was the truth, it still didn't bring investigators any closer to catching the suspect. Left with no other options, the authorities turned to the public and launched a nationwide campaign on the 27th of September. They placed signs and distributed leaflets telling people to avoid suspicious free drinks and to properly inspect the cap seals on their beverages.
Wait, do people actually drink the free drink? I thought it came out of the fucking vending machine.
To investigate their stock for any anomalies and told chemical shops to monitor their customers more closely. It's unclear how effective this campaign was, as the number of victims kept increasing even after its launch.
Oh wait, no, because it's like a buy one free one thing, right?
Happened.
Or something?
On the 17th of November, the murder spree stopped completely after the death of a 17-year-old girl. She was the only female to have died from the poisoning. It's possible that the person who committed these atrocities had a moral code against harming women, though that's nothing more than a baseless speculation. Due to the complete lack of evidence, the vending machine killer was never identified.
Thank you, what I had to claim which. Thank you. And hey, Patsuan. Welcome in. How you doing? Hope you're doing well.
History.
Man, that's kind of sinister, though.
Serial stabber.
Little Rock.
On April 11, 2021, the
person's name is Lil Rock.
Received a
never mind.
From South Pulaski Street regarding a potential homicide. When they arrived at the scene, they found a middle-aged woman lying on the street with stab wounds all over her body. This woman turned out to be 41-year-old Deborah Walker.
Doing good, how you doing? It's good to hear. I'm doing pretty good as well, just watching like a little...
She was quickly taken to the hospital where medical staff discovered
what do you even call
that she had been
this?
stabbed at least 15 times.
Like a tier list? No, it's not a tier
list. What may have been hours,
like
she
a
miraculously survived
documentary?
And
No.
consciousness the same day.
It's like serial killers that are on the loose still today.
Information she could provide about her
it's like stories of like serial killers that are still on the loose.
Somewhere between 1 and 4 a.m. It was still dark outside, and all that she saw was that her attacker was a tall, African-American male with a slender build.
Slender
in
man?
most other similar cases, such limited information would hardly be enough to generate any leads. But in this instance, the description Deborah provided left the investigators
Hold on, there's the address.
That's because her attacker's profile closely matched the perpetrator of another incident that took place about 8 months earlier in the surrounding area. The victim of that incident was 64-year-old Larry Eugene McChristian.
Oh my god, another victim?
He was living in Little Rock with his daughter Sarah, who was on probation at the time. On the 20th of August 2020, he had a medical emergency and was taken to the hospital in an ambulance. He was discharged from the hospital the next morning. However, when the hospital staff tried to contact Sarah so she could pick him up, she wasn't answering her phone. So they gave Larry the information about a nearby homeless shelter and a bus token to get there. Later that day, Sarah came to the hospital looking for her father, only to learn that he'd been discharged hours ago. She then reached out to the homeless facility Larry was told about. But
it's a sort of compilation of true crime docs, so yeah.
The only option
yeah.
she had was to file a
like true crime
persons report and wait for the police.
Are
to
people
find
still on the
Larry.
round? We got camps here nowadays.
On the 24th of August, Sarah received
some people
she was waiting for.
Some people are able to find
Tragically,
like blind spots, you know.
According to
They're
the
able to find
report,
blind
the
spots.
Little Rock
It's
Police Department
crazy.
Found Larry's body on South Gain Street at around
oh my
2
god, it's
a.m.
Patsu.
They
Oh, you know
identified him by the
Patsu.
hospital discharge papers he had on him. More importantly, he had multiple stab wounds on his body and was unfortunately already dead by the time the police arrived.
28
was
stab
homicide,
wounds.
and the investigators began looking for clues almost immediately. This proved quite impossible at first, since there were no witnesses and there wasn't anything.
Thank you for the follow. You should follow Jay for real. Hey, thank you, man.
However, after inspecting the surrounding houses, they had a major breakthrough. The CCTV camera outside a nearby house had captured the suspect walking down the street.
Wait, let me drop you a follow as well.
Larry and begins walking towards him.
Here, you know what? Let me just give you a shout out, might as well, because I'm too lazy to open up a new tab. I'll follow you through here.
Time before fleeing. As mentioned earlier, this man matched the profile Deborah gave to the police, leading investigators
Nice
to believe
meeting
she
you,
was attacked
Patsu.
by the same person. While looking into older cases, they also connected the same killer to another murder that happened
We'll
in
say
the
this could be
area on
old,
September
or I missed the
23rd,
year mentioned.
2020. The victim of this incident was 62-year-old Jeff Welch, another homeless man who was living in an abandoned home. On the morning of that day, Jeff's friend found him on the porch of his house with a stab wound on his neck. By this point, the investigators knew they were dealing with a deranged serial killer. However, just as they uncovered the connection between the three attacks, another tragedy unfolded. On April 12, 2023, a day after the attack on Deborah Walker, another one of his victims was found on the Wright Avenue overpass. The only thing in common with these 4 attacks was that they all involved homeless individuals. They all happened between 1 and 4 a.m. There seemed to be no clear pattern on how the perpetrator selected his targets. This left the Little Rock community terrified to leave their homes, fearing they might become the next victim of the serial killer on the loose. After realizing the potential danger of this situation, LRPD began spreading awareness about the man who was now being referred to as the Little Rock Slasher. They also turned to the public to ask for any information.
I'm sorry, bro. For such a sinister, like, deranged serial killer with a name, Little Rock Slasher. Bro, come on, bro. You need to come up with a better name than that.
They could provide on the matter, and even announced a $20,000 reward.
We also need your help. If you have seen anything suspicious, or
give them names such as chronic diarrhea, man. That's crazy.
Contact us at 501.
Unfortunately, despite having CCTV footage of the suspect, the Little Rock Slasher was never caught. The case remains a mystery to this day. Or at least that's what the official reports say. While researching this case, I came across an Arkansas-based blog called the Snarky Media Report. The authors of this blog did their own investigation into the slasher case, and what they found was shocking to say the least. Put simply, they claim to have found the true identity of the killer after talking to multiple
that is horrifying,
Deborah, who, according to the blog, already knew the identity of her attacker. They also uncovered many details about this supposed killer, including his criminal record, which reveals that he has already served 2 prison terms in Arkansas for felony convictions of domestic violence. Also, his history with drug abuse and how it made him very agitated and violent. The authors of this blog also claim to have contacted the alleged killer's previous landlord, who gave them this image of the perpetrator. Which begs the question, if they know so much about the slasher, including his legal name, why didn't they give this info to the police? That's where the case goes from creepy to bizarre, since, according to them, they've already given everything they had to the relevant authorities. Despite this, the Little Rock police didn't make any progression in catching the serial killer. Snarky Media also published a video of the Little Rock mayor and police chief refusing to answer
you could be
questions
walking the streets with some killers around you.
This seems to hint at something incredibly shady going on behind the scenes.
That is very scary.
That said, there's no way for me to confirm if the authors of the Snarky Media blog
I think from where I am,
for all we know,
pretty
their whole
safe.
investigation is made up, and this is just some random guy who has nothing to do with the 4 attacks.
But what if that's what the serial killers want me to think?
Most of the information they've gathered seems to check out with what's released publicly by the authorities. The only discrepancy in their investigation is the age of the suspect. Officials believe the slasher to be young, possibly in his 20s, but the authors of this blog state that the person they found was 46 years old.
Oh, Jesus.
Unfortunately, this is where the leads end. Whether Snarky Media is telling the truth or not remains uncertain. What is certain, however, is that the case remains unsolved to this day.
So is this the guy?
The Little Rock Slasher is likely still out
there.
Bro,
this is the most horrifying thing I've ever seen, bro. What the fuck is this? Holy shit. That is actually horrifying, though.
Thanks to Trade Coffee for sponsoring
Oh my
this video.
God.
I never considered myself a cup of coffee itself.
Not only if that trait flashed my eyes.
Maker.
Okay, there you go. Smiley face killer.
On February 17, 1997,
This is the guy?
21-year-old Patrick McNeil went out with his friends. He spent the evening out drinking with his friends in the Dapper Dog bar in Manhattan.
Dapper Dog.
During this time, he
premium hot dogs. Hey yo,
resulting in him throwing up.
We
in the
eating
bar's
some
bathroom
glizzies.
Before leaving in a highly unstable and disoriented state. Patrick was then seen turning left onto 90th Street.
Oh yeah, these are
in the direction
old
of the
cases.
East
Oh, they
End.
are, which?
This was the last time anyone would see Patrick alive. Following this night out, Patrick vanished.
Smiley face killer. We need to sue whoever giving these names.
Authorities found no leads or clues to his whereabouts.
God.
That is until April 7, 1997, when Patrick's lifeless body was found in the East River 50 days after his disappearance.
Oh no.
Duty Sergeant of the NYPD's Special Investigation Division, Kevin Gannon, was called to the scene to assist with the body's recovery and examination. Kevin had been a seasoned detective for years, and by this point there was little that could surprise him. However, the circumstances surrounding Patrick's death disturbed him to his core. The more he looked into it, the more strange the situation became. For instance, Kevin noted that Patrick's body wasn't decomposed enough to have been floating in the river for a week, let alone the past 50 days. He also found burn marks on Patrick's body, hinting at the possibility of him being restrained prior to his death. Kevin knew that something wasn't right. Unfortunately, due to the complete lack of evidence pointing to the contrary, Patrick's death was ruled as an accident. Kevin kept thinking over this feeling for the next year before coming across a case that reinforced his suspicions even further. On February 13, 1998, another body was found in the same stretch of water. This body was later identified as 22-year-old.
Oh yeah, 1998, bro. Holy shit, that's old.
Celebrating the event with his friends in Times Square.
I wasn't even born yet.
It didn't take long for Kevin to notice eerie similarities between the two cases, as both bodies were found within yards of each other. Both of them were also young Caucasian males and were on track to have successful careers. They both disappeared in one of the most crowded cities in the world without any trace as well. Most importantly, Kevin also found similar oddities in both cases, where the bodies were a lot less decomposed than they should have been, and there were burn marks indicating possible restraints before their death. Lawrence's case prompted Kevin to look for other similar cases across the US. He enlisted the help of fellow detective Anthony Duarte and a criminal justice professor, Dr. Lee Gilbertson.
I don't know if this is fun, like stupid to ask, but what's a serial killer?
Soon, a chilling pattern began to emerge. In total,
like, is it like deranged killers?
Instances of young men dying under shockingly similar circumstances as Patrick and Lawrence. Most of them went out for a night of drinking, became more intoxicated than usual, disappeared shortly after, and were later found dead in some body of water. Almost all of them were also Caucasian.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm waiting for someone to make a joke of like they kill serials or something, bro.
Most disturbingly, however, they also found graffiti of smiley faces near the bodies.
There you go, the smiley faces.
Victims. This led to the three investigators creating the smiley face murder theory. According to this theory, these 45 and possibly many other deaths from the 1990s
but I stopped
to
myself.
2010s weren't accidents in the slightest. Instead, they were murders committed by a single deranged person or an organized group of serial killers.
I knew it, bro.
This is the only logical explanation they could find to justify the many oddities and similarities in these incidents. That said, while this theory makes complete sense to some people, others aren't convinced one bit. Criminal profiler Pat Brown, for instance, called this theory ludicrous. She believes that the idea of connecting smiley faces, one of the most common graffiti symbols, with murders is just absurd, stating, "It's not an unusual symbol. If you look in any area 5 miles square, I bet you could find a smiley face." The FBI also completely denied this theory in a statement, reading, "The FBI has reviewed the information about the victims provided by 2 retired police detectives."
Bro, just say no.
Smiley face murders and interviewed an individual who
I'm speaking the truth.
to the detectives.
I appreciate the lyric, Patsu. Thank you. It was nice meeting you and talking to you, G. Thank you. It's nice meeting you as well, Patsu. Thank you so much.
Substantiating the theory that these deaths
Thank you
are the
for
work
being
of serial
here.
killer
Appreciate
or
it.
killers. The vast majority of these instances appear to be alcohol-related drownings. However, despite these setbacks, the 3 men have stuck with their theory. They're still working on finding evidence to back their observations.
Oh, they have like a really high
That said,
kill count
if
or
their
something
hunch
then.
is correct, it would mean one of the most wicked serial
What the
killers
fuck did I
in
just walk
American
into? Oh, it's a
history is
documentary,
still unleashed today.
Ezo. How you doing? What's up?
I-70 killer.
I-70?
Fuldauer was a
Holy
26-year-old
shit.
Indiana University
Is that like a new
graduate
fucking
who was
Intel
working at an
processor?
Indianapolis Payless shoe source store near I-70 in 1992. The 8th of April was supposed to be her day off. However, just as she was getting ready to relax at home, the employee who was supposed to man the counter called in sick. Left with no other options, her manager called Robin and told her to cover the shift instead. Robin wasn't very happy about this emergency shift change, but she reluctantly agreed, arriving at the store at 10 a.m. and starting her shift as usual. Unfortunately,
Man, these low quality
her day was
videos are
about
like
to get a whole
sinister.
lot worse. Everything seemed normal until 2 p.m. when the manager called the store for a routine check. To her surprise, Robin wasn't picking up the phone. She kept trying for a few minutes before giving up and calling the Speedway gas station neighboring the shoe store.
I'm not too sure if you saw the pin message, Ezo.
Went to the Payless store to see if she was doing okay. However, what she found inside left her confused. The store was in slight disarray, and some of the shoes were missing from the shelves.
I've already
the cash
disabled
register
it.
was also open, and
I'll tell you
no
find your
money
points
in it.
later, though.
Most concerning of all, there were no signs of Robin anywhere. Her friend called out Robin's name, hoping she was just in the back and would respond. But when she didn't hear anything from Robin after minutes of standing in the store, she became worried and called the police at around 2:20 p.m. The cops arrived within minutes and began searching the store for clues on Robin's whereabouts. And it wasn't long before they made a devastating discovery. They found Robin lying in the store's back office, covered in blood. It was already too late. During questioning, an employee from the store across the street claimed to have seen a strange man loitering around the shoe store a couple hours earlier. According to this employee,
is that the person?
The man sat on the curb for about a half hour, rifling through his bag and staring at the Payless store. They then saw the same man a few minutes later trying to hitch a ride back to Interstate 465, which was about a quarter mile from the store's location. Unfortunately, they were too far away to get a good look at the man's face. Given the money stolen from the register, and without any other leads, investigators filed this as nothing more than a robbery gone wrong. However, they couldn't have been more wrong. Because just 3 days later, something similarly tragic happened to 23-year-old Patricia Smith and 32-year-old
Jesus,
Patricia
bro, these people are insane.
The two were working at a bridal shop in Wichita along I-70. The incident happened a little past their usual closing time as they were waiting for a customer who had a pickup. When they saw a man approaching the store, they assumed that it was a customer.
Rakaite, thank you for the follow. Welcome. How you doing?
After entering the store, took them to the back and executed.
Wait, I know how to stand the points. Oh shit! Let's go.
As the killer was leaving the store, he crossed paths with the actual customer the girls were waiting for.
W win.
Without hesitation, he aimed his gun at the man and ordered him to head to the back of the store. But the customer defied his command and ran, narrowly escaping with his life. He later helped the police draw a sketch of the killer. Unfortunately, the sketch didn't provide much of a breakthrough. By this point, the authorities
that
were
looks
certain
pretty
they were dealing
good.
with a
That's a
serial
really
killer,
good sketch.
But despite their efforts, the killer's spree continued. By May 7th, he had taken 3 more victims in small, low-traffic stores along the I-70 highway. By the time investigators managed to compile a few more sketches, the I-70 killer stopped his quest and went into hiding. That is until 1993, when he claimed 3 more victims.
These are really old
in Texas.
cases, bro.
He tried to hide his identity by changing his weapon, but the investigators were quick to notice the similarities. One of his victims, Vicky Webb, also managed to miraculously survive after getting shot in the neck. If he were ever caught, Vicky's testimony would have been crucial in bringing him to justice. Though, the I-70 killer was never found, and the case went cold for nearly 3 decades. However, then, in 2021, investigators released CCTV footage of a murder that happened in 2001. The suspect in this footage looks strikingly similar to the I-70 killer sketches, potentially giving authorities the lead they need to finally catch him. It's likely only a matter of time before he runs out of places to hide and is captured. But for now, he's still out there, evading police and leaving the case unresolved. We can only hope he doesn't take any more victims in the meantime.
There's like cameras. I mean, there's like cameras everywhere though. Like, I mean, this guy's probably different already, right? It's been fucking 30 years, man. Holy shit. Well, it's kind of documentary, so kind of sick though. I like it. I feel like these are the type of videos that I always watch when like before I go to sleep. I don't know why, but I think it's something about the commentary is kind of like, it's kind of nice, bro. Maybe it's just me.